Right. All right.
Hi, Tom.
I don't see movement on your part.
Okay.
Yes. If you're in the picture now, we've started. Yeah, it will come up. Yes, here we go.
Okay.
So here we are. We're back. Hopefully with less glitches than last week or 2 weeks ago. I think by now.
Mm-hmm.
I reviewed the footage and I thought the info was good enough to muster through the crappy video. So I uploaded it. Yeah, sorry for last time. I just had to bail because my son was a bit sick upstairs. We had to cut it an hour short. But we're back, and Jeroen, or Pede, I don't know how to call you still, Pede, decided to join again. We were thinking what we were going to do today. We're going to talk about box sets because we had the same one come in, or I bought mine on his recommendation. But first, let's talk a bit about the documentary Black Metal in Belgium '89 because through YouTube clicking, I came upon it again. And just whenever I see it, I just have to watch it again.
Uh-huh.
Pretty sure you watched it a few times
Yeah,
during your life.
I do it yearly, on a yearly basis.
Yeah, not planned out, but it just comes up.
Yeah. And every time you watch it, you recognize new people you knew from before, or like.
Wait a minute. I have to fix the. I'm back. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot the mic. Okay, sorry, we're back. You actually know people from the video?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Okay.
Some people are friends of me, who I didn't know back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Others I recognize from their faces, and some I know now. Others are just, they're still around when you go to a gig, for example.
Oh, that's weird because I was thinking, looking at it, because there are some weird images in that, and one of the weirdest things is the Mercedes driving up and just four corpse painted.
I remember it because we were already joking with the Mercedes before we knew there was a documentary, because we were there. We were on the video ourselves, and those guys went straight to the toilets, to the bathrooms, to start, putting paint and chainmail and stuff, while we were having a leak, for example. And we were, come on. Already then we were 17, I think. We thought it was stupid, not the painting, but people dropped off by their parents and their Mercedes, then going straight to the toilet to do some paint. And yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird scene, but the entire thing is a weird scene. I mean, the vampire guy is out of control.
Yeah.
It even gets a bit violent at a black metal show. So yeah, it's quite a scene. But yeah, you were there that day.
Yeah, I think if you know, it's hard to recognize us. I was there with QE, Steven, our bass player.
Yeah.
And we are in the screen quite early in the documentary when this blonde lady is crossing the street. Then you can see us. And the fun thing is that there is in our gang of people were some friends from our area, and one of them is the brother of, I don't think many metalheads will know him, but Jasper Steverling from Arid.
Okay.
Yeah, he's there too.
The high voice guy.
Yeah. And also he was, back then he was like this DJ duo and making this underground acid. And one of them is very huge now. It's I think Dr. Gasmask or Mr. Gasmask. And in the underground acid, he is really famous. But back then he was one of the first people I knew listening to black metal. But he went more electronic. But he's on the video too.
But it was the brother of Jasper Steverling, or he was there too? Jasper.
No, the brother.
Okay.
But he's now like in R&B or something. He's a nice guy. He was from our village, And I don't know if it's in the first or the second part of the video. There is this gang of younger guys, not those in the forest, but our drummer is standing with a Cradle of Filth shirt, if I'm right, next to him with quite short hair and not saying anything. And it's really fun because I watched this video for a long time, but never paid attention. And then, oh, it's Nike. And the guitar player is also there, but he never comes into the screen.
Yeah.
So you're always, oh, we're on it, but you're not.
I posted something about the video on Instagram, and he replied, and I said, "Oh, I guess you were the vampire guy."
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives it another layer to know that that all you guys are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always knew you were quite early on to black metal, I would say, because I myself I talked about it a lot in these videos. I came quite late into that scene because I come from hardcore and all sorts of music. But I think 2008 maybe I started delving into it that late, because and it's quite weird that our country is divided upside down. I mean the Dutch and the but music wise, I live in Limburg, the other side of you, because west, and there is nothing going on here. There is no scene. There has never been anything black metal as far as I know. So yeah, it's kind of weird that it's the same country and every good musical thing or every dark musical thing happens on the war side of the country, if you will.
Yeah, maybe there was I think in the area, but that's not really in the east, but in Vosselaar, the bebop. It's not. It's rather in your direction, I think.
Yeah, it's the Turnhout.
Turnhout, yeah, it's more Antwerp, but we went there too. It was that the same period. That my dad was also driving, yeah, but we didn't have any paint on us. Yeah, but it was the same period because there were a couple of these, like where the documentary was captured.
Rocktown or something.
Yeah, I don't know how long it lasted. I think only 2 years. One of the last concerts there was with Emperor, I think. I've only been there twice. I think the cancelled Immortal tour with Helheim. Immortal was cancelled, but the tour was actually going on with Hades, Helheim, Isfind. And then another one with Aeternus, Light of Golgotha, but sometimes I mix up those both lineups. There were two gigs, but I mix up the lineups. But I think Cradle of Filth played there, and the legend or the story says that the venue had to stop because of people during the Emperor gig broke into the church and made damage to the preaching chair. I don't know if it's true. I think it's only a rumor. Don't think that's accurate. I also remember that Rock Bitch played there.
Road Bitch?
Yeah, you know Rock Bitch?
I don't think so.
It's this ladies band. I think only the drummer was a guy, and then they throw in a dildo. It's a bit like with striptease and stuff. Yeah.
Is it Road Bitch or Rock Bitch?
I think Rock Bitch. Rock Bitch, I think.
Yeah. It kind of sticks in my head as a all female S&M looking. Yeah. I never got into it, but yeah, I know.
Me neither, but it got some attention because of reasons unknown. But what I wanted to say was these other venues that hosted, because the bebop in the Campen was very famous. You can also see it in that documentary with Cradle of Filth, like Living with the Enemy. That I don't know if you know it.
Is it a separate documentary?
Yeah. Living with the Enemy about Cradle of Filth, and there's this lady from the UK, and her son listens to Cradle of Filth, and she's totally I don't know the word for it. She's not into it, but they take them or take her on the tour to, you know, let her feel what it really is and have discussions. And one of the early stops is also in the bebop. It's quite
okay.
a famous venue in Belgium that still is doing gigs. It's like this typical street. It's like a normal house, but behind the wall is actually a venue, club, whatever. But that was famous. But apart from that, it was like Metallize who organized everything.
Mhm.
And there was this period in Ruddervoort in the Rock Temple, but also Denderhoutem in a venue called Zaal de Jachthoorn. Behemoth played there, whatever, Rotting Christ, I don't know what, Morbid Angel, Immortal, Emperor, but also these small venues like in Poeke, which is a small village actually in the west of Belgium, and there in the woods and Catatonia played like in 95 or something. I also think they only did 2 shows there.
Yeah.
Then maybe Inhale also, the Bullheart. So it's all a bit spread up.
Yeah, it's spread out, but it's yeah, it's kind of weird that it never came here. Or there is, I can't remember anything because maybe the first thing you can call maybe black metal in these parts is like Play Festival from Musical Drome, and they did an evening with who was it? I think Nachtmystium played.
Is it?
Uh, yeah, I think Nihil played, but that was late. That was way later. Maybe 2009, 2010. So that was the first time something like that touched down
Yeah.
here. There
I
was
only
there.
went to that place once for a black metal show, and there was a tour with Mayhem and Cadaver. But I can't recall the year. It must
Yeah.
be. I think Necrosis came out, so if we can Google Necrosis from Cadaver, then we know the year.
All right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we also never played in Limburg in the east before, so maybe that's a sign too.
Yeah. Probably. I don't think there's too much. Yeah. There's no crowd here. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's no crowd here in general, but especially for that kind of music,
yeah,
it's weird. But yeah, it gives it an extra layer to know that you know now I have to rewatch it again. But I'll think I'll hold on. What was the lineup? It was Enthroned, Ancient Rites.
they're using, for as far as I know, they're using images
Mm-hmm.
from separate gigs. And
And
you see their Dark Funeral and Enthroned, but that wasn't the gig we attended. There's also Ancient Rites, and you can see us, the images from us are from the gig from Ancient Rites. So it's
okay.
all a bit mixed up. And who was with in Ancient Rites? I think Pentacle. I remember Pentacle from Holland.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But then I think if we Google it, maybe it could be Aeternus too. The
Mm,
first when they didn't have any CD out, Aeternus, and maybe Liar of Golgotha.
okay.
And
Because I didn't talk to the other bands. I know they interview backstage. They do an interview with one of the bands, and it's I don't know.
Dark
It's
Funeral.
uh, it's possible.
I think there's one with Dark Funeral, like with the paint, and he has a beer in his hand. But that was from a totally different gig. We never attended, or not from the gig we attended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just a random dude just filmed and made a montage, but it was from the FTBF or something like that.
Yeah, it's from actually a woman, a mother, and her son was into the music, and she
Okay.
was fascinated, and she decided to do this documentary, and she is said to be quite a famous filmmaker, because I don't know if I mentioned it in our last talk or maybe you know it, but my dad has always been into movies. He was a film critic, and he knows a lot of it. And just recently, I showed the documentary to him, and he was curious to know who was responsible for it. And he knew her. He knew the
Okay.
people. Yeah, and he said she's quite famous, not for us, but back in the day or in the 80s or something.
Yeah,
Or if you're into documentaries, or especially the French ones, she's a name, not a huge, but
yeah, but
she's,
under the name,
yeah,
maybe TV work. But that's very specific.
yeah,
Documentaries in the 80s. So yeah,
yeah. So it
specific, you know.
wasn't like you have this guy who organized the gigs in Magasin 4 in Brussels, from
Hmm.
1,000 Lost Civilizations, I think. Leslie, he's called. And
Hmm.
I don't know if he still does it now, but 10 years ago, you saw him on the side of every gig, capturing the gig with the
Oh,
intention of making a documentary. I don't think he ever finished it, maybe once, maybe the project is dead, but
mhm.
it wasn't such a guy. It was not a guy from the scene or whatever. It was like a mother from a fan who
Yeah,
decided to delve into it. I think she did something great, because all over the world people are talking about it. If
yeah.
you,
It's quite a time capsule. I mean, just the atmosphere that is in that, and there's some very wrong things in that video that get explained a bit too
yeah,
easy, explained away a bit too easy. But yeah, it's a time capsule, and I don't know. It's always great to see. I mean,
yeah,
that atmosphere that just in that half an hour, great.
yeah, you can some feel the atmosphere from back then, what
Mm.
black metal in Belgium was,
Yeah,
but still how naive and young everybody was.
it's
That's very not confronting, but maybe confronting. Like,
I think it is
yeah,
confronting. Yeah.
I was really in awe with it, but if I look at now, it's quite safe, and yeah.
Well, I was thinking about because safe. How old were you at the time?
I think 16 or 17.
Yeah, I would have been a bit younger. So knowing myself at that time, if I was there, I wouldn't felt it as safe, I think.
But looking at it now, back
Okay.
then, I didn't observe it as safe, because I remember um, the first time with it was Isvind, and
Hmm.
Isvind was playing quite early. It was very harsh, and like it was amazing, very good. I had the goosebumps. But what was very confronting for me was that although there were people dressed up with the inverted crosses, but really huge ones, and whatever, I thought, yeah, that's impressive. But the moment they started to do the the Nazi salutes, you know, the
Yeah.
the the arm in the air, was something I really didn't expect to see at a black metal gig,
Mm.
even back then. And actually, totally honest now, I was afraid, or it would be a huge disappointment if the band Isvind would have done the same for me,
Would have
because
done
they didn't do it. They were just, approving the violence in the audience, but they didn't do anything with the arms in the air.
it.
And although it's not my intention to say something political, but I never thought that was something that was, you know, for me, that was not my image of black metal, not at all. I didn't understand it, and it was seeing those guys doing it actually a huge disappointment.
I can
It's
imagine.
something I clearly remember, like,
Mhm.
ah, not this, no, 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 no.
But
So
you, if you think about it rationally, let's call it what it is. Nazi or Nazism is everywhere in every subgenre. There is power
yeah,
electronics that is about
yeah,
Nazism. It's not
yeah,
weird that something outlying or
yeah,
outlandish black metal has it. It is quite disappointing. Yeah,
yeah.
it is quite disappointing. But yeah, it is a part of life, unfortunately. I guess if you're
Yeah,
into if
certainly
you're
it wasn't something that pulled me back from going further into the scene. Oh, totally not. But
no, I think while we're on the subject, I never outspoken was against it, or of course I'm against it, but I mean, I never had an opinion on it. It's just, I think if you're into this the subgenre or the subculture, whatever, and you have for yourself an image of how you enter it, how you walk in it, and you know, it's hard to ignore sometimes, but
yeah, it's also a totally different discussion, and it's not something I like to discuss or I'm interested in. Not now.
Let's just drop it then.
Yeah.
But it had to be mentioned because in the documentary it is prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that was Black Metal in Belgium '98, which is once again it's incredible. If I remember, because I always say in these
98, then I was 18.
18.
Yeah.
How old are you now? You are from what year?
79, but only 7 days.
I'm 82, so I would have been 15 or something like that. Yeah. My mom would probably drop me off, and I would have went to the bedroom. All right. We are going to talk about box sets a bit. I just got an Instagram announcement that Archaeantis said the Wulkanaz box looks insane. So maybe he has it too. We are talking about this one first. It just came in mind. It is a bit banged up because it came from America. I think when we last spoke, it was after the Alcardale interview, and then you said, "Hey, I have the box in. It's really worth checking out."
Yeah,
been a fan of all of his incarnations actually, and he has a lot. He's one of those guys like Svartadautus or Asgore from Drowning the Light, that one person that has so many incarnations of himself or bands, and they're all actually, maybe there are a few that doesn't click with me, but on the entire line of all his projects, especially with us or Wagner or whatever his name is, it's all quite good and quite I know you kind of feel the same about him. Since you have the box too. This is actually a demo material, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get the thing. So the lid is just silver foil, the bed logo. That is, I had it somewhere who did the bed, but I don't think I'm going to find it. So it is 4 LPs. And this is the track list, if you will. I don't know how much that will show up, but it is quite a lot on Helter Skelter.
Do you know if he does the artwork, or is it someone else, like general for his projects?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think because I read it somewhere, but I forgot where it is now. The bat on the cover of the box, so his logo, as we say, is done by somebody else, unless it's another pseudonym of him.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure. The artwork is mostly picture based. Not everything, of course, but a lot is. This is not the track list, but what's in the box. So it's quite a lot on here. But I'm not sure about the artwork. I haven't delved into it, but it's 4 big, and it's quite well done actually.
I think it's really impressive, like his music, what he did. But it's very recognizable as black metal images, but it's not the cloning what's been done before. No. He uses the elements, but he does his thing with it. I'm very in awe with it.
These are all picture discs, which are they all look incredible. It's an amazing box set. Like I said, I had to hustle to get it because I got mine from Hell's Headbangers. I had an order running, and there was I had a pre-order for the Wymere on Werewolf Records Forever. After we talked, I just mailed them and I said, "Hey, just throw it on there." It was the same shipping, so I basically lost out. Really nice box set.
Yep.
Music-wise, like I said, he has a lot of incarnations in his in his line of music. I think the Wagner Ødegaard maybe made the most waves lately.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of releases and re-releases. Would you say I was right if Wagner Ødegaard is maybe more the punk black metal? And I think because listening back to Wulkanaz, and especially there's one on Bandcamp that's called Rehearsal 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more his metal side. So you hear a bit more heavy metal influences coming. I don't hear too much punk influences in Wulkanaz. It could be how I'm listening at the moment, but
Yeah. So sometimes it's a bit hidden. You know, he has this background when listening to Wulkanaz, but it's not that much up front. It's indeed his more metal incarnation.
Yeah.
In Wagner Ødegaard, it's like punk or post-punk, and it's also, to me, more atmospheric than Wulkanaz. Yeah, I think so. I feel it like more, you know, the songs are a bit more spread out or less direct, I think, than Wulkanaz.
Yeah, I think I have the opposite.
Are you?
Because I was thinking the Wagner Ødegaard is so, it has that 1-2-1-2 stomp. Most of the tracks have that. There's less variation in the Wagner Ødegaard than there is in the Wulkanaz stuff, I think. Because in Wulkanaz, I also hear the not quite psychedelic, but the more meditative states of, you know, if you look at the artwork of some of the things, the last one is, I don't know if it's him, but it has the lotus position, the guy with the, I don't know, it looks like a wizard with a long hair. So it always struck me as a bit meditative or maybe psychedelic in some parts, and I heard it when I was listening today.
Well, if I had to recommend someone who has never heard of Wulkanaz before, and I did before, I always said like it's a mix of Arcanum, Lugubrum, and Vondur. That's like my easiest way to describe the band.
I hear Arcanum without a doubt. Lugubrum is maybe harder for me.
But like older Lugubrum, but like a bit the less obvious kind of black metal, or he does something different with it.
Yeah.
And Vondur is like the short aggressive riffing and because it's not this typical kind of, for example, Transylvanian hunger riffs. Totally not.
No.
And that makes it interesting, I think.
Yeah, there's air in there where a Transylvanian hunger, or maybe all of the trilogy that Throne has, there's almost no air, and we'll have the same in the Niden Div, the we'll talk about next. I think Wulkanaz has, that's maybe why I call it more meditative, or there's more space in there, and that's what you have with the Wagner Ødegaard, I have with it's more open, more I don't know. Not as dense of music as the others, maybe.
What I wonder is, and it's also present in the artwork, but because you mentioned before his position, the lotus position, I'm just wondering, is he mixing up influences from the Scandinavic, Swedish influences with something from Asia? Because in the artwork you can see some elements, graphic elements, that I would say are Japanese or Indian, but also the whole thing around it. And I haven't really heard it in Wulkanaz nor Wagner Ødegaard, but I did in Karnilapakte, I don't know how to pronounce. There's some song which in the background holds some, Hare Krishna kind of mantras.
Yeah.
So it's something, and I looked for it for interviews on the internet. I found some with him, but not dealing with that concept. So I'm really curious about it. how what's the link in between? Is it something I see or is it really present? I don't know.
It's hard to say. There are some there's some art coming to mind. I mean, especially I think I showed it in the box that the pine trees that are just like a wood block
Yeah.
cut kind of reminds me of something like maybe something Hokusai would do in the background. So artwork wise, I follow you. I don't hear if there is Asian overtunes or
Yeah.
influences. They're not present as here. This is my Asian my
No, no,
Asian.
no, no, no. It's
It is, yeah, there's something there. I
yeah,
think that the meditative state that specific cover, I think it's the
yeah,
last one, I'm not sure. There is something there, and especially the Canela Pacte, which has, like, I think we talked about in the last one also, the Popol Vuh influences and
hmm
the
yeah.
stuff.
There's certainly something shamanic in it. And
Yeah,
if you talk
that's
about
maybe the
that from Sweden, Northern, I don't know, but or Finnish or Russian, and then go to Mongolia,
yeah,
it's all in
it's,
this culture or it's not that weird actually to make these jumps.
no, but
Uh,
I think I my Frank vault when you said the word shamanic.
yeah,
I think that's the word to describe it. And in
yeah,
some cases, maybe the transcendental or the what I was talking about is
yeah.
100% captured by that word. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, there's something there definitely. I think the Carnila Pacta. It took me a while to get into,
Yeah,
but when you get lost in it, and it's a record you have to just play just to get
yeah.
you know to get it into your head. It is yeah,
That's
it's a
this one.
yeah, that's this one. I think we talked about it because we talked about the color stamp last time.
Yeah, but what I meant with the Asian um, influences is like I think it's in the booklet. If we have time to discuss this, because of course these are runes. It's very obvious, but the way this is drawn and the lines remind me like as something typical Japanese.
Yeah.
Uh,
If
also,
you if you flip the obi, just the artwork with the volcano, no, the front, you just flip the obi, yeah, just how that works, it is. It's
yeah,
kind of looks
and
like a cut.
I, also, I don't know if it's in the booklet of all these woodcuts, or I think it are woodcuts.
Mhm.
That's very. It changes. This is could be like a black and white version of John Bauer, who drew the Mortis, the famous Mortis images and
Yeah,
stuff. But if you flip through, Swedish Woods could be from any Nordvest release. But when you go to the end, this is for me more Japanese actually.
Japanese I saw it in a few, yeah,
Or
it kind
even these. I recognize something Swedish, but to me it has this Eastern atmosphere.
of,
And oh, light is going out. I have this tape too from him. Like this sun.
yeah,
I never saw this as a Northern European or Scandinavian kind of iconography. This
no,
to me looks like also, I don't know, yeah, something from Asia. I'm not that and like I didn't study it,
no,
but it wouldn't surprise me if it was from Japan or Mongolia. I don't know. Not
uh,
from Sweden, I think. And he uses it a lot, so it's really interesting. I'm very fascinated by it.
if you see it on a taekwondo outfit, you wouldn't be surprised actually.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So maybe it's something. It is something from Northern Europe. We don't know. It's possible, but there's some like we discussed Carnila Pacte with the chants, the Hare Krishna chants. It's there's too much or too many elements that fire up this image to me.
yeah, that's true.
So that makes it interesting.
That makes it interesting. We we didn't record last week because I'm not saying because of it, but it was Pankraker and Adriebrut interview they did, and I saw your question, which was he asked for questions, and you said, "How about an interview with Ryan Rudiger?" I copied and paste that.
Yeah, I saw it.
Actually, nice. I enjoy those chats. I don't know everybody. I actually don't know anybody in that chat, I think, except for the other Wood guys. But
I know a couple, but sometimes they have these nicknames I don't know, and
yours is pretty obvious. Yours is pretty obvious, so I recognize it. All right. Yeah. Is there anything to wrap up? I think we wrapped it up nicely with the Asian talk. The second box is something that is not out yet. The CD version is out, and it blows my mind, but it's still available everywhere. I always knew the cover, but I never knew what it was. I mean, the CD cover. And it's about Niden Div 187. Am I saying it correctly? A band I didn't know, I guess, until a month ago, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone is mentioning their releases, and it seems that Dawnbreed and what is the other label? I've written it down. I'm not seeing it right now in my notes, but Dawnbreed is doing a box set with the two releases, the EP that is called, do you know it by heart?
The EPs, Impergium and Towards Judgment. Yeah.
Towards Judgment is the EP, and then Imperium or
Impergium. Yeah.
Full length. Swedish bands. From 69, the EP, and then 96, sorry. 69 would be great. And the full is from 97, it seems. Yeah, they're a Swedish band from Grondwerk, a duo that has some help from other guys. And they are basically a side project of the band Dawn. For time reasons, we won't go into Dawn today. Maybe that's different, because I re-listened to Dawn today. There's something there to talk about that band, because it's basically incredible music. And listening to Dawn, listening to Niden Div, and discovering all these things, it blows my mind that people, and I know you mentioned it too, that people just talk about the Norwegian scene, all the bigger bands in the scene, but bands like this never come to mind or come to the forefront in the conversation, which is, do you know why? Why is nobody talking about the other bands?
I think even when it came out, I remember that when it came out, but the other bands like Dawn, and I think, if I'm right, the second one was, or the other guy played with Die Primordial. They were much bigger or more famous, but still, even Dawn wasn't like as huge as Dissection. They were in the shadows of Dissection. Personally, I prefer Dawn a lot, but there's so many music coming out, and it depends where your focus lies, or the main focus of magazines or I don't know, whatever. And especially now, of course, everybody, I don't know how there's so many generations of listeners, and if someone who is now, I think, in his early 20s, probably started listening with Wolves in the Throne Room, I don't know, nothing's wrong with that, but I can understand it's hard to encounter or to get to know a band like Niden Div. Because those bands, like, I don't think Wolves in the Throne Room will ever mention them as an influence. They're from another scene, from the American scene, where was also a lot going on. And I think that's a bit the reason. They also stopped quite early after it. Also, the main bands, Dawn, I think Slaughterson, the latest album was from Was it already 2000? I don't know.
I didn't write it down, but it was they had quite a stretch of time because the band started. It's kind of unclear, but in some cases like Metallum says 86, Discogs says 90, but Discogs mostly goes by releases. So I guess they started
Dawn, you mean?
Dawn.
Yeah, they started as a death metal band.
Yeah.
Then the debut was more this typical black death from Sweden without sounding too much Göteborg. They had a mini, which I won't pronounce. It's like Sorrow Flew with Black Wings, but in Swedish.
Yeah, correct.
And then Slaughterstone came out, but it was very well received. But I think they also played with other bands, so it was a bit, it was very obscure. And even then, not for everybody. It's like, to me, it reminds to Zyklon B a lot.
Yeah, the comparison gets made.
Yeah, and even Zyklon B, maybe because of the name, but all the people playing the protagonists are like Izan from Emperor, Alderan from Dudhamsgard, Frost, Zamot, yeah, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people actually know Zyklon B.
Another perfect example that I hear a lot of people say, or a lot of people, there is a portion of the internet and this purely internet-based black metal that say, oh, when we were younger, we had to look through zines or look through, look to tape trading and to find bands and stuff like that. Now with the internet, it's very easy to find stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I disagree actually, because it's very easy to find Dead Crush by Mayhem and to find the Mysterious Hommes Satanas, but to dive into the world, for example, Iljarn.
Yeah.
Iljarn was a band I never heard of, let's say 4 months ago, and then all of a sudden it was. It's weird, but
you mean Iljarn?
But once again, I'm coming from the other side.
Okay, it wasn't meant offensive, man, but I thought you knew it. Yeah.
If this was 10 years ago, I would be ashamed. Now I'm just glad I found it. That's different.
I would be happy if I would discover such a band today.
That's basically my blessing, because I started in 2008, 10 years later than you, but the shit I haven't heard is incredible. Like Zyklon B, for example.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I don't know where I actually started with black metal. I think my gateway was Sun, Black One. So that's Sun, Black One.
Sun. Okay, yeah.
I think that was kind of my gateway, and we in our last year of art school we discovered Gogol's Black Mass and Kaka or something like that. That was when the floodgates went open. But like I said, that's now 12 years ago maybe. So a band like Niden Div or even Dawn, which is maybe a bigger band in that scene or the bigger name of the two, it's kind of hard to find. Even Iljarn, it's kind of hard to just get on it. I have to look at bands now and then see where they got from. Like there's a lot of Iljarn worship at this moment, and that just listening to all those bands just inevitably got me into Iljarn. Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse. I don't know everything, but there's so much to hear. So
yeah, there's so much. Also, there's so many. I don't know, within niches within already a niche genre, like, and like for you, the opening or the encounter was Black One, but how does it happen from people, from what you're reading? I think if you're new to it and you enter, for example, the Facebook group or blog Order of the Black Hearts, it's more focused to one side of black metal, which is more to the US or I don't know how to describe, but the chances are low you will get to know what happens in Greece or Hungary, especially back in the day. Or maybe you can read Bardo methodology, and then it's more wide. But maybe then you will jump in what happened in Australia or the older bands or stuff. So it all depends, and some people are very, quite dorky about it. You know, it's you don't choose where to start and where to look for, and it's all one big quest. And there's so much music, so yeah.
I noticed today that when, let's say 10 years ago, when I was in a mood, a certain mood, I would say,
Yeah.
melancholic, I would listen to maybe something like Interpol, or maybe some, I don't know, that I
Mhm.
now know so many black metal bands that I have a band for every mood. I just can stay. I don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
It's like you say, I mean, there are a gazillion black metal bands, and
Yeah.
so it's incredible.
But it's nice that once a while there's something that was below the radar. I remember it's not really black metal, but to me it's connected. Was like, I think it was 3 years ago only, um, and it was a writer for Terrorizer Zero Tolerance, Geoff Birchnall. I don't know how to pronounce,
Hmm.
but it's like he's a writer since long, a known writer, and he posted a tape from a Russian band called Skald, which he described as the perfect mix between, let's say, Viking era Bathory and Solitude Aeternus Candlemas. And he
Okay.
said, how is it possible? Me as a writer was never, never came to this band. So I listened to it, and to me it was also, how is this possible? And now they're releasing a new album, they're more upfront, but like before 3 years, it was not. I think you had to be really, really into the scene, really into deep, more into doom metal than black metal, but old school doom, not not the um, like more the Witchfinder General or the Candlemas kind of doom. And to me, it was amazing to hear this music from Russia that gave me the same kind of feeling as, for example, the first time hearing Blood on Ice of Battery, which
Yeah.
was my very, very first Battery album when it came out, even before the black metal albums.
Okay.
My first encounter was Blood on Ice when it came out, and it was, many people said it was the forefather of black metal, and I heard it was like, no, this is like Viking Manowar or something. And then you go deeper, and oh yeah, there's something else too.
The
But
Russian Scald.
it's called Scald, Scald, and it has this. I really like when bands, through the history, many bands have these misspellings because of, the lesser knowledge of grammar.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's called "The Will of Gods is Great Power or Means Great Power," and that reminded to me to we are the um, uh, come on, from Emperor. I mix them up. Uh, I am the Black Wizards.
Ah, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And there's also, but that's not a metal band, but this punk band, we the Laser Viking or something, but I forgot the name. Whatever. It's like this kind of the Locust kind of band.
Ah, okay. So a bit lost in translation stuff.
Yeah.
I know on the first battery there's a typo on the back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which track, but the story is that he when he made the layer to print, he had these scratch letters like we
Oh,
use,
Letra
and
set.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
was out of a letter, so he just, I think it's necromancy or something, and instead of a C, it's just an S, and he's like, fuck it.
That's a nice one.
I'll take it out because I think it's on my copy. Um, yeah, if I find it, I'm not gonna find it right now. But yeah, stuff like that. That's just great to know.
Yeah.
These little tidbits. Yeah. So if you're into Niden Div, we talked a lot about everything, but not about the bands. Music-wise, it is like we said in the Wagner Oedegaard or the other one. It is, there is no air in this.
It's very dense.
Jesus. I listened to it at work today and I was like,
Yeah.
fucked up. Oh, because a colleague asked me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Yeah. It has one of the few or only totally over compressed kind of drums I like.
But
The drum is amazing on the mini. The
yeah,
opening, you have this big squeal or whatever, and
yeah,
then drum. It's so compressed, but
yeah.
perfect.
I think everyone was impressed on the EP because when you listen to the full length, the
Yeah,
intro just him going nuts on. I think when they did the EP, he had this little kit because
yeah,
it's almost programmed. That's how fast and how dense it is.
yeah,
Then on the full length, I think they got some cash, or I don't know, because it sounds like he has this massive drum set all of a sudden. So the difference is quite weird. But yeah, it is very, very hateful music. And one of the people on Bandcamp said, yeah, it's hateful music and fast, but there's some beautiful melodies in here.
yeah,
And I listened to it, but the melodies are just there to let you know how sad and how bad war is. That's just the only function these melodies have. So there is melody, but even that is just atrocious and dismal.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'd say I don't know, masterpieces is up there, or it's maybe over the top, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're
yeah,
into abrasive, dense, angry, hateful heart black metal.
yeah.
Yeah. It is also I looked on Metallum. You mentioned Zyklon B as one of the bands that is linked with. I found Uranium 235. You know those band or that band?
Could that be like one of the projects of the guy from Godkiller? I don't know. I didn't any research. That
The the only thing that I the only reason I written it down is because they are from Monaco.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
it's the
Yeah.
one. That's one guy. He's from the guy from Godkiller, and he's
Yeah.
from Monaco. And
Oh.
it's a band from Godkiller, and the first album, it's like now re-released by Peaceful. It's like
Oh.
medieval, I'd say, obscure kind of black metal.
Yeah.
And then he made a full, which is more even It's still metal, but more electronic.
Like Beherit maybe with electronic or just metal with electronic influences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a band who did something similar. It wasn't like Dudhamsgard did on 666 International, nor Covenant, The Covenant, because that was really cheap as and very sweet. It's still dark, maybe like Samael on Passage,
Okay. Yeah.
but Samael Passage is there's some drive in it.
Hmm.
It's more, I wouldn't say laid back, but not as aggressive, but more dark and less cold. Um, and the album after it was even more electro then.
Okay.
But that's less interesting. I wouldn't say the others are interesting too, but it, I listened to it a lot when it came out, especially the second one from Godkiller, or the first full length. I think it's called The End of the World or something.
Great.
And the fun thing is, like, the opening has this melody, and it's like this very famous melody from DJ Shadow from Introducing.
Ah,
It's like
okay.
the same kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you compare it, it's different. But if you listen, you know, like, it reminds us something. It's you can hear the similarity. But the mini was like more Abigor style. So he switches a lot. But I haven't heard the Uranium project, but I know of it of the existence.
Yeah. It kind of got my attention because of the Monaco that is
Yeah,
going. He is one of the guys that maybe has an actual castle. He makes music.
yeah, or a flat, or he drives a Ferrari.
Probably a black one.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, look forward. Look for the box on Dawnbreed. I think the pre-orders launched this week. I think or
Yeah,
last.
just recently. Yeah, last week I think.
It looks amazing. It doesn't have the original artwork. I think it's all very dark black, but
Yeah,
maybe there's an insert or something that
yeah.
depicts the original. Yeah, I think we blasted through that one.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it looks to be a special box set. I think there are 500 total, so they will be around. And for the U.S. people, Nuclear War Now will get stuff. The third box set, and before we started, I saw Pede's stack of box sets. He maybe has 50 laying around, but maybe 15. Before we dive into the big pile, or we do the
Yeah.
box set poker, we'll get into this one. This is a love we both have. That's why I mentioned Black One. This is which box set.
Yep.
It's just called Burning Witch, I think. There's extra title on here.
Yeah, it's the complete works, but I don't know if it has a title.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different LPs. There you go. Yeah. Mine is an Amoeba staff pick.
Oh, did
Straight
you?
out of Hollywood.
That's nice.
It has Crippled Lucifer. That was the CD version is called Crippled Lucifer. I know that, but I think the CD doesn't have everything. It's just a compilation.
Yeah.
That was a cover. So there's a thick booklet in here with a DVD of some live gigs. The artwork is by Stephen O'Malley, of course.
Yeah, he was playing in it. For
Yeah.
people who didn't know, it's a band before Sunho
I think,
or Knate.
yeah, I think Stephen O'Malley, Greg Anderson, and there was a third one.
But it was a bit of mix-up. You have also Stuart Dogfist, who is also known from Asfa and the Poison Glass, was also a very important member. And they had two drummers, Jimmy Sykes, who also played with, if I'm right, Teeth of the Lion, Rule the Divine.
Yeah.
Did he play with Iron Monkey? I don't know. But and then another drummer, I forgot the name, his name, but they both did.
Brad or a Bart.
Yeah, Brad. And I remember a nice how Stuart Dogfist, because Brad also played or plays with Asfa. He described how he drums, and he related to like building a house. Like you have an empty room, and then he's thinking about where do you put like a painting or a poster? Where do you put a table? And that was his way or drumming. And if you know or are aware of that image, and you listen to the music, you understand how he drums. Like everything is so, you know. Unusual or specifically placed. So it's a very unique band.
Yeah. The what stood out to me in the re-listen, and I listened to the Crippled Lucifer, the CD version today, was that I never paid attention to the 70s more prog vocals that come through. He has these insane screeches like maybe Mike from My God, in that register of voice. But he also has very clean doom vocals. I would say.
Almost Ozzy, like evil Ozzy.
Yeah.
Or Ozzy on his most evil.
So those spoke out to me today. I don't know why. Maybe because I was going through my dad's records because I'm giving a huge part of my collection back to my dad. It's his records, but then I put stuff that I collected over years. So I've been listening to a lot of prog, and that I guess it just popped into my ear.
Yeah.
For me, a very important band. I know for you, an even more important band. Sorry?
Next to Darkthrone, my biggest love, or I don't know how to describe.
Going to say, I don't think I read an interview with you that didn't mention Burning Witch.
It's important to name drop.
And it's just an important band. Seeing what came after, because we said Aspa, we said Line of Deed, Rule Divine, the Canate, which is next level fun, which is the part of the letter. But also Master Musicians of Bukake is one of the bands that came out of there, which is that part or that group of people, and they are mainly based Seattle, I would say. What they did for my music love or my knowledge of the genre, that's I guess where everything started for me, especially with Sun, which is weird because Sun is so monotone and monolithic. But yeah, it's not weird that you start there and just end up where I am now or where we are now. But yeah, something like Burning Witch, I don't even know how to describe my love for that band because it's just so insane. I heard a interview with Walter from Roadburn, and one of his top gets is Burning Witch on Roadburn.
Yeah, I know.
That ever happens. I don't know if
that happens.
I don't know if it will survive. It could be. They're all still alive and they're all friends, so just a matter of.
Yeah, I thought it was also weird when the Poison Glass, which is also one of the side projects or projects that came out from Burning Witch. It's with Stuart again of the bass player, but the singer, and I think the only project I'm aware of he sings in too. And they played in the nice venue in Antwerp. Help me.
Kafka?
No, the small one. I would say it every day, but every time.
Music City.
In the Music City, I think if there were 15 people, so I was really thinking, damn, nobody listens to music, or who is actually listening to music and has an interest and delves into it. It's like legendary people here and only 15 people. So when I'm drunk, I always tend to say they're all sheep.
And I'm drunk.
Or maybe they don't have a car and live too far away, but
Yeah, or they have kids then too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I say when I'm drunk, then I don't care about it.
I know what you mean. It's like royalty is playing in a living room and nobody's showing up. Yeah. It is insane, but yeah. You imagine how they feel.
Yeah. They had a great time and it was amazing. So
yeah. It's in all honesty, it's one of the bands I have to. It's one of the record covers, a bend over figure with a lot of knives in there or swords in there.
From
Poison Glass.
I have the shirt, but I think there's this kind of sigil on the background. I don't. I should check it. I have the shirt, but I don't know what's on it.
I'm always doubting because Roadburn is one of those festivals I go to every year, and every year it's over, I kind of try to remember what I saw, but it's all kind of hazy. But I think I saw them there.
Yeah, they play there.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay. One of Carlos Santos. They're one of his favorite bands.
Yeah.
He dragged me there.
Yeah. Good he did.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, Burning Witch is in our hearts, I guess.
Yeah.
And it will remain there forever.
Maybe it's also, I wouldn't say to end because you're the boss, but important to mention the influence or how that band is actually merged within the black metal scene, or most importantly, Stephen O'Malley. When he was, I'm going through it quite quickly, but when he was playing with Burning Witch, he had this band, or I think just after it, called Thor's Hammer, and there was it before?
Yeah.
Okay. I think one of the girlfriends from Emperor singing. I hope if I pronounce it correctly, Runhild Hammelsetter. If you remember the humo about black metal in the 90s, the girl with the fangs, and so there was this connection, and mostly because of his magazine, and that's a very important thing. His magazine, Decent Magazine, was one of the best known, maybe also the few magazine in the US back then that covered, all the European things, not only the Norwegian but the European bands that from Greece, from I remember in the first and the second issues, like the Portuguese bands being mentioned. The other writer was also Tyler from the Anya Offensive.
Yes.
Which releases a couple of books, but is also closely related to damn all those Latin names. It's too hard to express. From the band, the label from that spell Omega, Novio, blah 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 blah.
Novio Diaboli.
Yeah. So those guys back then were already into it, and like Stephen O'Malley too, he did the artwork from Psy, Emperor, I don't know, lots of bands. He worked with Misanthropy Records, did a lot of covers, and maybe to go back to Niden Div and Down, he did the artwork for the last album of Down, The Slaughter Son. So this guy he's not now known for Sun, but back in the day, in the 90s, he was omnipresent, almost in everything he had his hand. So and
it's not far-fetched that I got into black metal through Sun, because it's just
exactly.
Yeah. That guy is. I mean, we talked about Wagner, we talked about Zwarte Dautus, all those people that have a body of work that is insane, but his body of work, music-wise, artwork-wise, the scope of his, I mean, just his work for Boris alone, the artwork he did with the final lines going over it, and it's insane what he does. He embodies music on such a large scale, because even with his he has this Editions Mego sub-label, which is called I'm not going to find it, of course.
Latitudes? No,
Latitudes was the southern label, but the problem is it's called this.
Oh, that's the same one from Connate. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know the name.
Ideologic Origin.
Yeah.
It was his site. He kind of did what you did, like cool pictures or cool artwork.
Yeah.
Now it's the sub-label of Editions Mego from the KTL connection he has with that guy. You have Ivid Kang, and you have Purpa, and all those crazy unearths these crazy artists and put them on a label though. So in the history of this channel, I asked his D a lot of times, but once again, why not? I once made a fool of myself at ATP in England, talking to him, but it was like 4 o'clock not in the afternoon, but 4 o'clock in the night, and wasted. So I only could praise him, not have an actual conversation with him.
Yeah.
That's life, I guess. Since we're talking about zines, there's a zine that came out right now, and it's called Arcane Archivist. This is the second one, and I kind of recommend it because it has, just from the cover, Forgotten Woods, Torn of the Carrion, Fulton-Tiam, I think, Troll, Covenant, Morbid Romance. It's a great mixture of new stuff and old stuff, but it's done with a lot of love. Back to the way it was done in the past. So A lot of interviews. Really cool. Recommendation. If you are into zines, I would say get on it because it will disappear rather quickly, like everything does these days. Yeah. Shall we do box set poker?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Raised stakes was the first one because I don't have too much box sets. So,
Okay. But I just put some things. I won't take everything. But maybe my first ever box,
oh yeah,
vinyl box.
final box. Now.
This one.
Tomorrow will be worse.
And it's with
And Pass.
Gordon, Capitalist Casualties, Hell Nation, Spaz, Fuck the Nations, Fuck on the Beach, and Charles Bronson and stuff. And I think it's released by the guys. It's Sound Pollution, but it was distributed by the guys from Spleen. And Spleen is this old, I don't know how to describe it. It's a power violence band that was from this area. And they released the first Amen Ra. And they were friends, and they said, you have to listen to it, but mostly because of Spaz. That's something I really like. And Spaz is also on the Gummo soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
that's another Gateway album, that Gummo soundtrack.
Yeah, but yeah, I can understand why. But for me, this is a gateway into the other direction because I come from more traditional metal, and that there was this period in the early 2000s that I was more looking for music and electronic music, but also like this power violence and kind of stuff, and also the sludge genre. So it's this traditional cardboard with a stamp and this typical DIY booklet.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I think it's always cool when they do a booklet with all the artwork.
Yeah. And it's not really copied because the paper is a bit thicker, so it's still printed. And then
the last page is cool.
And there are a couple of 7 inches. And I know that within the scene, this is very sought.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan, but I have it, so I think it's fun. That the really true guys are looking for it, and it's here since long. So that's my first ever vinyl box.
I think the Charles Bronson is the one I have the most releases by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's related to Youth Attack, the Mark Fox installment. All right. Yeah, where to go from that? My first, I don't know what my first box set is. That should be over there. I have this one, Code Penis.
Oh.
It's actually a box set because it has a sleeve, but it's, what is a box set?
Yeah.
I got this pure by chance when Iron Bonehead had it in. It is the, I wouldn't say complete work by Goat Penis, but it is the, more the demo material or the early material on pre-releases. So it is, the Sabbath No Death, but then spelled backwards, the picture disc.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is actually. War Noise Black Metal Blast by War, the demo from '94. Comes with this huge, incredible back patch. It is Nuclear War now, so their limited versions are insane. And then the Jesus Cowards EP with Jesus eating a mushroom, it seems. If you choose the thing. And then once again, it's a picture disc. There is something
here that was frozen again.
Was it frozen? Yeah.
Eh?
Was it frozen?
No. What he was licking, a melted Calipo that was frozen again.
Because we're doing pretty good glitch-wise. So,
yeah, it's okay.
There is one, I picked this specifically because I know you have been around for a long time. And on all of these releases, Goat Penis-wise, it says Uncle Underground Distro CO Jan Jansen.
From, was it Dist? No, Buchot, yeah. I remember it, but I wonder who he is, how he looks like.
I looked at when this came out, I got it in, and of course, when you see something that local on an international release, you quite wonder. And what if you type it in? Of course, you arrive at message boards, and a lot of people say like, "Oh yeah, I know the guy. I used to order this and this and this," and everybody got their demos from there. But it seems he's still alive, and he's doing something completely different now. But
okay,
there's not that much info. But that was, starting this video with me saying there's not much going on in these parts of town. Now, Buchhout is not my part of town, but
yeah. But there was also Shiver Records from, I think, Dist.
Yeah.
And he did a lot. It was not always that good, but it was a name in Dist.
Yeah, Ancient Rites was from Dist.
Yeah.
So that's even weirder why there was never any Animo around that, But when there is no scene, quote unquote, because I don't think, like you said, and like the other people said, there is no Belgian scene. There are spots in Belgium that have, labels, and I think the scene is mostly built up around the label. I'm not pretty sure, but if something like Ancient Rites, just a band, has no backup, or there is no label that supports them, or there are no other bands, then they're playing your side of the country where there is shit happening. So it never got picked up or never was built out here. So that's why. Yeah, it's kind of weird that nothing happens. But that was Goat Penis. I always found it weird that he pushed, or that name that Jan Jansen was on those records. So I always wondered who the guy was. But there's no info, not even from you. So maybe Boy knows.
Yeah, I only remember him from publicities or flyers when tape trading or in magazines, but that's it. And then, like you said, he disappeared because I can't remember when. It's just a name I remember. So, and it has been really, really long.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Releases are from mid-90s, so I don't know what from. I think 94 was the Jesus Cow or something like.
Early 90s.
Yeah, 94. Right. Early 90s. What's next?
From my pile? Yeah. What? Maybe a box which is not metal, but to me it can be very, or I think it can be very interesting to people who listen to metal because of the dark, very, very dark nature of the music. And it's a box of Matt Elliott. And it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a backside. And Matt Elliott is actually the same person of Third Eye Foundation. And Third Eye Foundation is from Bristol, from the UK.
More electronic, right?
Electronic, like really, really bad trip electronics.
Trip hop.
He came from a hip hop scene, but musically, I don't hear that much hip hop in it. I would say more like Eamon Tobin or even some Portishead, but way, way more, I wouldn't say primitive, but dark. Really bad trip, mushroom dark.
Dark trip hop.
Yeah, but under this moniker, Matt Elliott, he does some acoustic music, which is in the same way also very apocalyptic, dark. In the beginning, he's performing solo. His voice, he has a baritone voice, and he loops and goes to climax. It's very interesting. The later albums, he mixes with Spanish musics and stuff. Also, a lot of klezmer or Eastern European music. And I think it's something that people who listen to dark music in general should give a try, because it's so in one way beautiful, but also dark, and it's not maybe some people would call it depressive, but I wouldn't call it depressive. But maybe it's not the most romantic music to have a dinner with your wife with or something, but it's still nice. And the artwork from this box is also really impressive. It's all done from a Russian illustrator or artist called Danya Zurovlyov, who is said to be like this teenage star in Russia as a as a illustrator.
Okay.
Like he did already these kind of exhibitions when he was 12 or something, and he's one of the first using this dot technique, which is very known now, like
Shadowing and stuff like that.
Hmm?
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, shadowing.
Yeah.
So, and it's really a really nice atmosphere, and all the drawings are made for the music, so he didn't take it from his catalog or something.
I know his style from somewhere.
Yeah.
Elliot. It's a different cover, but it's not coming to mind.
There's also, and if you can, of course, this box is sold out. There's also a live CD in it, but if you can find it, I got this from my best friends for my 40th birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the songs are called Howling Songs is one vinyl. The other one is Drinking Songs. The other one is Failing Songs. So maybe it's a bit depressive too. Here, of course, with a very known face.
Yeah.
But this is a really, really nice.
Yeah, incredible.
Nice artwork.
That's also very known artwork. Yeah.
Yeah. He also did. It's released by Ici d'ailleurs, which is from France.
Mhm.
I said he's from Bristol, but he lives in Paris for 10 years now, and the label is Ici d'ailleurs, and it's the label from a guy. I'm really sorry. He's very famous. It's not Arvo Part, but this French classical music dude. Sorry.
Yeah, slips of mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's who is the guy who made the intro, the very famous piano music for Amélie Poulain?
Whew.
It's his label.
It's even longer than I was into black metal. Amélie Poulain.
Yeah, because it's such a famous name, and I thought maybe because of the music.
Yeah, we'll probably hit ourselves after this video, but I can't.
Yeah, I always have it. Like when going to the supermarket, I could say it like in a second, and now when it matters, I always forget it. So it's very recommended. This
Wow.
book.
For the looks only, it looks insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I since we're doing artwork boxes, this one is also a very good, the Hell trilogy. Hell is known as a doom band, I would say, from America, and they have reinterpreted the works of Doré.
Ah, okay.
Backpatch. So they used the Divina Commedia, the etchings, as the baseline for their work. These are all picture discs. The only thing they did, and it's not very imaginative, but it works, is just put red all over the artwork. So it has Hell 1, 2, and 3 in this box set, and it just has, I mean, it deals with, the music is maybe, it's not an interpretation of the Divina Commedia, the Dante story, but it could be viewed, or I always viewed it as maybe a unexisting soundtrack to that work. You can almost hear someone descending into hell. This is Julius and Dante here at the door. I mean, this is classic artwork. These etchings are, if you have maybe an inkling interest in graphic work, this is top.
Yeah.
There is one more, I think. Yeah, all the records have these red interpretations of Doré artwork. Is there one more?
I don't know how it's done. The etchings, it's. I did it before, but
It is really.
It's amazing what kind of technique or steady hand they had.
Yeah, I think him and the just last time we talked about Goya, the Aswa box, the Premonitions of War, that series, and then this series are among my favorites with the Durich artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is like this. So it's a lot of angels, there's a lot of hell and heaven stuff. And I don't know how they got away with just using the artwork. But yeah, they did. It's long enough, no one cares anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how it is with a patent or how the trademark or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
He had a lawyer back then.
It's on Pistanta Urvolk. It seems this guy ripped off a lot of people in his later career, but yeah, because I put some record on Instagram and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, do not support that label." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I thought it was a good guy, but yeah, hell, it doesn't make the record player a lot, but when it does, it puts me in a mood. It's just heavy and depressing. Which seems to be the story in these box sets with Matt Elliott and Hell. Yeah, I don't know how. I think I have one more to show or two more to show. So let's ping pong a bit, and then we'll hit the 2-hour mark, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe I can after it. My English, sorry. I can show another box, but I will first take something else because you mentioned prog, that you have to give back your vinyls to your dad. And although it's not a box either, it reminds me to boxes. Because what I like about this is not really the music.
No.
I like a little bit of Yes, but I always like the vinyl sleeves. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the artwork from Yes is especially the prog material, not the pop material.
And when I go to flea market, you can find a lot of them for maybe for €2, and I mostly buy them because I really like the artwork. And I never saw with other bands like it's a gatefold with like this, sometimes a triple or a 4-piece gatefold.
Yeah, it just flips like a book.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's always this kind of science fiction. I don't know what this is like. Again, John Bauer from Mortis, but with more mushrooms on his diet when drawing, and I really like it. But I was also always disappointed, like
the
about music. I can appreciate prog, but this is, I don't know.
The correct thing to do with a Yes record on a flea market is you buy the record for €1.
Yeah.
You take the vinyl out, you crack the vinyl in half, give it to the guy, and just take the sleeve home.
Exactly. So it's not really a box, but I think it's worth mentioning, like in this series, like.
The thing I like with Yes artwork is that you can't tell if it's past or future. You know what I'm saying? It kind of feels futuristic, but it could be 7,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I was talking about that. Yeah. Does it say who the artist is?
Roger Dean.
Here we go.
And the layout is done by Martin Dean. So is it a coincidence? Are they brothers?
Probably.
Is it his alter ego?
His alter ego is doing the layout.
Yeah.
Cool. They're pretty good with watercolors, that's for sure.
Yeah. So back to you.
I have two more. One that is not very visual, but that is quality or music-wise. I think you have it too. It's the Haddenvaart Trauma release.
Okay, yeah, it was also here.
Yeah, I think so.
This
came
one
out.
worth mentioning too.
It's worth very much, yes. This came out on Liber Mortis, I think, 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure anymore. And all the material is 2007, 2014.
Yeah.
Neatly compiled into one box, because the original records are, I mean, they're in the stratosphere for price wise, I would say. They are these screen printed sleeves, so there is not too much to show, but all in all, I would say it's pretty good quality. They all have these inserts text wise or lyric wise. I think there's one song written out for each and every one. They are all on black vinyl. I think the originals had a bit more brown tones and yellow tones in the artwork. But yeah, you get the picture.
Yeah.
These are this is a very cool box set to have. It was quite pricey to start with. I don't know how it does in the aftermarket. This won't leave, so it doesn't really matter. Music wise, it is how to describe it. It is I think it's black metal without the distortion, I would say. To really cut through the box, as we say.
There's a lot of post punk in it too. And you can of course relate it to graph, but then you should describe graph. And how can you describe graph? Maybe like a post punk version of Armageddon later. You know, the On Spiritism album of Armageddon, that without distortion, like you say, more post punk, more atmospheric, I think it comes quite close to Armageddon in some way.
On some points, yeah, maybe it is.
On some points, of course, it's different, but
I think graph is maybe even different than this, because I think this is more pulled to a little bit more black metal. In graph, you have these weird things like the maybe surf guitar influences that he sometimes does.
Yeah,
that won't show up on this, because I think of all it's Lick, right? All his releases, I think Graf is the one that I have, not that I can get into it, but it's maybe the weirdest stuff he does. I'm not sure. Everything he does is kind of weird, but it's a demonstration of satanic psychedelia, mental illness, and misery. Music from psychotic frequency of autism, sickness, and tinnitus. This is the very end. Yeah. That wraps it up nicely. Yeah, it's incredible. I kind of waited a long time to pull the trigger, but then because Liber Mortis is this label that when you know it, it's not a big deal. You order records. I have two coming in from him one I ordered 2 months ago, one I ordered a month ago. If you know that they're coming in at his time, it's not a big deal. But at the beginning, it was like you order, there is no contact. You know, those black metal, or no contact, no this, no that. So it was kind of sketchy in the beginning, but then Joel from Babylon Doomcult and Grondwerk had the box set, and I think we all just jumped on it. I saw a lot of people saying or clicking yes on the poll to get this one, and I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't want to pay the aftermarket price on this one or the Discogs price.
I was again lucky, like the box of Matt Elliott, to have received it for my birthday too.
Okay.
Yeah. I became 40 and they had the one box. I was like, oh fuck, thank you. And then they put money together. Hidden Fart, no.
Also, two.
Yeah, I got two of these rare boxes.
Incredible boxes. Yeah, the Matt Elliott kind of. Matt Elliott tingled me, so I'm going to look into that, especially because I know two of the artwork pieces. You know, the Dracula type with the the lobster on top of it. I
Yeah.
would say the man and the wife. I know those two, but I never know from what. So they're probably just imagery that comes up in blogs like yours.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to you. I have one more, and then
Yeah. What should I take? Because I have also the same box, Hayden fact here. But have you discussed the Abigor box before? But I don't think that's so interesting to talk about, or is it?
is it the tape box or the records?
The vinyl box.
Ah, no, I haven't.
Maybe that one, because the other boxes I have here are Sonic Youth, Daydream Nation. I will mention them. Robert Johnson,
Okay.
then Nicholas Christos, Reverend. I'm doubting between a box from Reverend Bizarre because
Which
they
one do you have?
from
Reverend Bizarre, the tree?
the tree, and that is Glory Now.
Okay. Well, if you have the lineup, I'm pretty interested in Robert Johnson. That's maybe going way back to the early
Okay.
stages. He's the first one that made a deal with the devil. So
That's the first black metal artist ever.
literally.
Yeah, and people who do not know Robert Johnson, he's like this old Delta blues guitar player who was told to have sold his soul to the devil on this typical, crossroads somewhere in Mississippi to be able to play the guitar very well. And if you're familiar with the movies of the Coen brothers, the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou, there's this part or this legend or this story integrated into the movie of the same guy who has sold his soul to the devil. And what's so nice about this is that the music that, if you know Robert Johnson, that I don't know if it's speed up or slowed down, but we're all used to listen to his music at the wrong speed.
Okay.
And you can't do it at the correct speed on your record player because it's only 33 or what is it, 40, whatever. But back when this was, I don't know what year it's from. It's really long ago, the early 30s.
Something like that. I was thinking 20s, 30s. Yeah.
Or 20s. The speed when it was recorded was not similar to ours. So I think his voice is much lower on these records and what we know. But if you go to YouTube and type in "listen to Robert Johnson at correct speed," it's much, I think, higher and much more natural. It's really interesting if my dad listened to it, and I grew up with this music, and it's only like a couple of years ago that I'm aware that we all listened during almost 100 years by now, or 80 years at the wrong speed. It has never been confirmed.
Okay.
But if you listen to it, it makes sense. His voice is much more natural, I think, when played a bit faster.
Okay.
So it's a box and it's the complete recordings, like 3 vinyls, and it's this primitive. I think it's only recorded with one mic. I don't know how it's recorded.
Yeah, probably it's old enough to be recorded on a wax cylinder or something.
Yeah, it's engraved directly into wax. I also really like the labels. It's different kind of labels.
Yeah.
So there's not much, I think. Is there a book in it? There is a book in it. So maybe it's all. Oh, there's more than I thought. With a book with all the lyrics. All lyrics, no stories. He sings a lot of the devil, and then I won't unfold it, but a large.
Yeah.
But again, if you're into music, it's necessary to have it. Not the box, but the music.
Just just something,
Excuse me?
just something of him. One record. Because usually his records are complete recordings because there's not that much music of him.
No, yeah, only 3 vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
4 vinyls. That's all.
Yeah. I never heard that speed differentiation.
Yeah, I don't know how long I know the story, but it's only recently, a couple of years.
But the box set should have. Is the box set then in the correct speed or?
I have to recheck. I think it's the speed we're all used to.
Okay.
I should check it.
I'll look up a video because I've written down.
Yeah.
Things I should put in. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll grab my last one. The last one I have is the I don't even know what it's called. It's werewolf box set.
Is it empty because you flip it so easily and it looks so huge?
The records are this was at the height of my buying power at WOTGIGP. I don't know if you know that label from China.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
There was a period where I just talked to Danny almost every day, and I just said, whatever you're putting out, just send it my way. And this was one of the things. Yeah, it's a werewolf box. It is a weird kind of quality because it's very sturdy, but it's like there's no cardboard in here. It's like it's made of very thick paper in some way. So how to describe it? But it says it's a very S&M, yeah, very S&M artwork based box. There is a typical werewolf patch in here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big flag that is actually too big to unfold. It is a huge SM scene when I unfold it. There are 2 shirts in here, I think. There's this one, which says werewolf, the true werewolf, the true werewolf. That music. It's actually a very nice box set. And there's the logo shirts.
Yeah, it's nice artwork.
Yeah, it says worship Lucifer, praise Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Very subtle message from him. And then there are 2 records in here. That's the first one. I think these were released on CD only and then released on vinyl through Go to Warwick. But I think this is, because it's 2014 material, it says on here. The other one, I don't know. But this has been in my collection for, I don't know. The other one is from 2010, so it's quite old material.
Mm-hmm. Is it actually for the Chinese market, or is it just a Chinese label for the European or the Western market?
That's a weird question. Do you mean that these records are just pressed as the China?
Yeah.
Edition? No. You would think that because of the obi strip, but the obi strip is actually Japanese. So it's just a thing that this label does, and a lot of labels copied it afterwards. I think WOTGIGP is known as the obi label. It's just a striking visual. I mean,
yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. I think the Japanese pressings always have the obi strip, and the quality of Japanese pressings is always praised among collector circles, mainly because, and I think I don't know if it's now, but in the past, I would say the 70s, maybe the 80s, the quality of the vinyl, and I mean not the pressing, but the actual thick or the actual vinyl is of a higher grade than that was used in European or US pressing plants, and that's why in the highest circles, and then I mean people who have installations that go above and beyond, those are praised as the true grails of vinyl collecting. I think just loves the aesthetic because it just works. An Obi strip on a record always works. And he does it for every record. So it's not that it's done for a specific market. I think it's just an aesthetic that he chooses to uphold. Werewolf. I don't know how deep to go into it. I like the label and the music he puts out more than I like the actual music he does. There's black metal stuff from him. There's more electronic stuff from him. So it's a bit all over the place. But I think because I got the first full length in by them, the Werewolf Devil Crisis. I have a love-hate relationship with this record, and maybe also with the artists themselves, because it's sometimes, and especially on this record, this is the first full length that's been in the making for, I don't know, 10 to 20 years. Sometimes has a Eurosong vibe. It is symphonic in part, but it is so symphonic that it rubs me in the wrong way at some parts. But knowing him and following him on social media and whatever, he's a huge dance enthusiast. So
that's the guy, because I don't really know it, as a guy from Satanic War Master, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Satanic War Master is the 100% black metal.
Yeah.
But then you have the werewolf stuff, the true werewolf, and it never made sense how symphonic or how Euro dance it was until I saw him posting stuff like, him actually love Euro dance and stuff like that. So it kind of creeps in a weird way. It's a very good record, in my opinion, but it has those very sugary symphonic words that are just, if you put it in a Eurosong context, it can work. So it's that combination of intense black metal with this sugary synth work that kind of fucks with my head. But all in all, I kind of love the record. And I love what he does, and I love the label. Worth mentioning, I guess. That's it. Those are my boxes. I have more, but why pull out the Slayer box set? Everyone has seen that one.
Yeah.
Should we do one more, or should we do our playlist of what we've been listening to?
Maybe the playlist.
We are 1 hour and 3/4 in.
We're approaching the 2 hours, so maybe the playlist, because I can go on like for 3 hours more, but
do that in the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
You can start it off since I did the last box.
Okay. I'm not really doing a playlist, but I will show the actual latest vinyl I have, and I have it since this morning, and only could listen to it this evening, but played it maybe already 4 times.
Sure.
And it's, I'm sorry, not metal again.
That's cool.
But I will come back to metal. It's Greek, it's Divine Reeds, the music of Tassos Chalkias. And it's released by Radio Martico, which is a label from Ghent. And these are friends of mine. Okay. And I was in Ghent this morning.
The label are yours.
Yeah, the label and the guy who designed it.
Okay.
They started out as DJs, and you can maybe compare to it as how Sublime or Sublime Frequencies and these kinds of labels work, as they travel around the world and they're looking for old music that has been put on vinyl, maybe in the 60s,
but was been forgotten,
and they are looking for it. They have this portable vinyl player. They go to markets. They ask around. They've been in Africa and Eastern Europe, everywhere. And for example, you have Jim Jarmusch, the director, and by his movie, I think Broken Flowers give a big push to these Ethiopic sessions, the 70s or 60s Ethiopian jazz, which is very mellow, really nice, like Mulate Astatke, Mahmoud Ahmed, really like warm old jazz with a nice sound and stuff. And it gave, fire to a whole movement of people looking for old music. And they doing something similar. They were DJs and they started playing these records, on parties, wherever, like not electronic music, but old music. And since maybe 20 years, they have been doing this and are now releasing music. And this is the latest one. And it's Greek music. And actually, if you love, maybe it's a big jump, but if you love Sylvester Amfang, there's a link,
Okay.
and it's quite psychedelic. It's played a lot of on I don't know if it's also an English word, clarinet. That's the
I don't.
main
Yeah, I don't know how to.
instrument. And yeah, like I said, it's psychedelic, mellow. It brings you in this kind of trance. And of course, Sylvester Amfang is far more primitive than this. But if
Yeah,
you like that, and of course, Sylvester Amfang has this metal link, it could be interesting to you. It's beautiful released. These are engravings. I have the book where the engravings come from.
yeah,
Uh, these are all, and there's a series from a medieval series of copper engravings of animals, split into four books from mammals to fishes, insects, and
oh,
so on. And it's funny to see he also found the books because they're hard to find. Also on the background, you can see on the clarinet, it's
very
a
nice.
gatefold.
Oh, okay.
It's a gatefold. Like I said, a very beautiful
Yeah,
contemporary design,
yeah.
but with
It feels
influence.
contemporary, but
What?
also it feels contemporary, but also 50s.
Yeah, it's from if you following design,
Hmm.
it's exactly what you say. You can feel the 50s in it because the music is probably, I haven't read it, from the 50s, but
Yeah,
it's also contemporary. If you
yeah.
know how the font is something which really from nowadays.
What's the
And
label called?
Radio Martico, like this one. If you can read it, Radio Martico.
Perfect.
And there's also a very nice booklet in it, same size, with the whole story. Looking forward to read it.
Yes. How much releases do they have? Is this is not the first one, I guess.
No, I don't know. I should check. They have lots of singles, 7 inches.
Okay.
They have a few full lengths, but how
Mhm.
many? I don't know.
There should be a catalog number on the spine, maybe.
Okay. Oh, eight. Only the eight. And I said they are friends. I sent him a message like I have the latest one. I really like it. He said, "Yeah, it's Greek, and we're going to because there are two guys and then a third designing. We're going to focus more on the Greek scene because there's a lot of um,
Or the
you know
jam.
stuff to be found."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also sent it to Omar from Turia because
Ah,
I
okay.
was there. He said, "Oh, awesome! My dad is into it." And I don't know. I asked, does he know it? But I didn't get a reply yet. But I'm going to listen to it because I grew up with all this kind of Greek music stuff, folk, psychedelic. So yeah, give it a try.
Perfect, man. Nice.
I
I'll,
posted it on my Facebook today, so it's not easy not. It's very easy to find the music.
the problem is I kind of stay away from Facebook, but I'll check it out.
Oh, I sent you the link then.
Mine is not really black metal too, but it kind of is. It is a Gabstock or Gabestock. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Oh,
Um, get it out of the sleeve. It is black metal in the sense that it comes from the Korpsand collective from Denmark that also has Vanenberg, that has Eierker, tons of bands, Jordaslaat, whatever. This is kind of the outlier of the scene in the sense that this is black metal mixed with punk, mixed with 80s slasher horror movies, mixed with there are vocal parts that are reminiscent of Merciful Fate, maybe in some way. The catchiness of this stuff, and this is the second full length. The first one was called Trey, I think.
Hmm?
It is so catchy that I think they use samples because they don't use samples, but it is just so catchy that it feels like you know these songs. It is weird. It is very, very weird.
Is it catchy as Black Magic SS? Or different?
Black Magic SS is catchy, but it has, in a weird way, it's comparable. I would say Black Magic SS has more that 70s feel, that
Happy.
yeah, that hippie San Francisco vibe, a lot of cult shit. This is just if you have fun, 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 and you pour it in a big pot and you throw in everything I just said, it is this. It is the record that gave me a lot of joy this week, and it's called En Gang Raden, Altijd Raden. I think is
En
Danish.
gang raden, altijd raden.
Yeah. It's on Strange Aeons is the label, so it's not on Natatala, the Corpsand label. But as you can see, the poster kind of gives away,
Oh,
the aesthetic is kind of how it sounds. If you take this and then the cover with the flowers, you kind of have the aesthetic of the sound.
you made me curious.
The first run is sold out, but they have already a repress on pink, I think. So
Okay.
it is maybe my favorite band of the Corpsand collective. And like I said, they are linked to it, not necessarily into it, because it's on a different label. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. It is highly recommended if you like fun music. So I wouldn't call it black metal, but it's adjacent. So yeah, Gobstock. Gobstock is the I don't know how you call it in your language, but if you the schandpaal,
Yeah.
you know the block where your head,
Yeah.
your two fists are in on the town square. You probably have a very nice word for it.
We have a new book with dialect words, so maybe it's in there.
Look on the schandpaal.
Yeah, schandpaal.
All right. We kind of hit the 2-hour mark, so I would say if you have one more recommendation, quickly.
Oh, I thought it was done.
No.
Damn.
We have time. The only thing is I have to go to the bathroom, but that's the only thing that's stopping us.
Then I will talk really slow and take my time. Yeah. Well, I have these boxes, but next to me.
The problem with these kind of episodes is that you've been listening to is what we talked about. So I listened to a lot of and stuff like that.
Well, it's next to me, so I found it. I have been designing a lot on the Oudergebroed book, and one of the records that I played an awful lot was one of Nocturnity, because I only designed in the evening, in the late hours, and this is perfect when it's late evening, night. It's a Nocturnity from Greece. I didn't really, I knew the band, but I haven't listened to it before. I only started listening since last year in September, because Omar again from Turia mentioned it as a huge influence, and another good friend of me had the vinyls and played this one, and I really love the sound.
Yeah,
it has not such a special sound, but it's a good sound, very natural, and you can hear the Scandinavian influences from the early 90s, but it's a band from Greece.
Yeah, it's translated to Greece sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like Rotting Christ or Necromancia or something.
Totally different.
But it's a late discovery, and this one I really enjoy. I play it a lot. Lots. If it's finished, I start again. It's not unusual that I work like on the design or when I'm working for 3 hours, and it's only this one playing.
Okay.
Really hypnotic. Nice one.
When they were all re-released by Emma Fati, I just grabbed them all because I had nothing of the band. And the EPs, the one I think it's the one with the stairs or something on the cover. I played that to death in the last 2 months. I stopped now because it was it was the only thing I was listening to, but it's actually really good. Yeah.
There's so much music coming out, and money-wise, I have to limit myself. And I remember all those vinyls, and I thought I will stick to this. But meanwhile, I'm also listening to his other albums, and they're so good that like.
The last thing I listened to was the Onyx record because I was debating, because you talked about money. I was debating on getting the limited dragon skin version because it looks amazing. Yeah, the thing that grabbed me the most was the name actually. Nocturnity. I don't think it's a real word actually, but it conjures up so many. Like an eternal night or something like it. It conjured up a lot of images. So,
I was hesitant about it before, actually because of the name, because it could be like this lame keyboard stuff too. Like all these kind of bands, Nocturnity, then Ethereal Fields or so. I don't know.
Okay, so I have about 70 recommendations, but the thing that I wanted to recommend the most is I don't have it on vinyl because it's once again released through Go to Warx and it's in the next batch. But he released it yesterday, I think, digital, and it was my first digital purchase ever. I never bought anything digital. It's called Midstone. The record is called The Essence of Eternity. It's the first full length by this guy. Really, I talk to him a lot on Instagram, which seems to be the black metal portal of choice for me. And yeah, it's just one guy. It's Iljarn Worship, but done to a very high degree, and I absolutely love the record. There are a few EPs. There's a demo, but this is the first full length. I'm not sure where he's from. It seems he's from Iceland, but I'm not sure. And it doesn't sound Icelandic. Like I said, it's still Iljarn Worship, but done very good. NIDSTO with an umlaut and then NG. I'll put it in the links. It's I love it. It's Iljarn, but it's a bit more listenable, if you know what I mean. Iljarn is just pure hate with the wax. This has some musicality to it. I think if I were to describe Iljarn as anti-music or I don't know, you can listen to it. It has that very, very good punk black metal sound, but it's abrasive and it's hard to listen to. It's a task to listen to. This is not. So it's yeah, I would recommend that and the Gabe Stock one. Last thing I wanted to say is on Northern Heritage, the Cavern. I don't know if you know that project. It's French. I just learned about it because before we. It's the Necropole is the more known band by that guy. Cavern is records that a lot of people are searching for, I guess. They were released by Resilience and Iron Bone, but long sold out. And I think they now have a re-release of the first two full lengths, and then there's a new one, it seems. So hot off the press news for the people watching. That's it, I guess. We hit the 2-hour mark, which is nice.
Yeah.
For our second episode. Once again, sorry for the last time. I had to cut it short. Yeah. We had first record was riddled with stuff that was against us before it started and after it started, I guess. But yeah, we made it to a second part. We'll probably make it to a third part, I guess.
if they don't fall in a coma after 2 hours.
There are people who are actually watching 2 or 3 hours straight.
Yeah. Okay.
Comments, and I've heard some. Yeah, there are people.
Yeah.
All right, Pede, thank you very much. I'm not going to thank you
Pleasure.
again in the next one because I did that with you all the time, and I'm not the boss. We are the boss. So
Okay.
have a good night, and I'll see you and the
Thank
rest
you.
maybe in 2 weeks. Let's do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Still lots to discuss.
Discuss. Have a great night. See
Bye.
you.